על הגבורויס ועל התשורויס ועל המלחומויס שעושיסו לאבויסנו והיום עמוען בזמן הזה על הניסים ועל הפורקון ועל הגבורויס ועל התשורויס ועל המלחומויס.
Hello everyone and a happy Chanukah. As we continue through the holiday of Chanukah, one of the things that we do in shul, or if you're forced to daven at home, is to say Hallel with a bracha before and after, and a full Hallel throughout the 8 days of Chanukah. My question is, are women obligated in this mitzvah? We all know that women are obligated in the mitzvah of lighting the Chanukah candles. Are they also obligated in the mitzvah of saying Hallel on Chanukah? After all, these days were given, as the Gemara says, Hallel v'hoda'ah. Well, in order to answer this question, let's take a step back. The Tosfot says in the Sechet Sukkah, page 38a, that there's a big difference between the Hallel you say on Pesach Shavuos Sukkos versus the Hallel you say on the Seder night. The regular Hallel on Pesach Shavuos Sukkos that you say during the day, women are exempt from because it's a time-bounded commandment, but they are obligated in the Hallel on the night of Pesach because they were part of the miracle. Explains the Griz Soloveitchik that there's two kinds of Hallel. Hallel of Shira and Hallel of Kriya. Hallel of Shira, of song, is a spontaneous Hallel done at the time of the miracle. And since on the night of Pesach we're obligated to see ourselves as if the miracle of the emergence from Egypt happened to us, then ultimately we say a spontaneous Hallel. It's so spontaneous, there's no bracha before and after. We split it up with the meal in the middle, and we say it sitting down. Not so the Hallel that we say on Pesach Shavuos Sukkos in the day. There's a bracha before and after, and we say it standing up, and as part of the service, and we don't eat in the middle of it. From this perspective, where does that leave Chanukah? On the one hand, the Gemara in Erchin, page 10b, does say that the Hallel of Chanukah is Mishum Nisa, because of the miracle. But on the other hand, it's pretty formal. It's not like the Hallel on the Seder night, sitting down with a meal in between and split up. It's the whole Hallel with a bracha before and after. So ultimately, are women obligated in this mitzvah like they're obligated in the mitzvah of Chanukah candles, or are they not? Gedolei HaPoskim have dealt with this issue. In my humble opinion, we have two sources on this. One source is the Gemara in Erchin on page 10a, which says that there's 18 days, at least in Israel, that you finish Hallel, and it lumps together Pesach Shavuos Sukkos with the 8 days of Chanukah. So ultimately, it seems like it's all the same, and if that's the case, women would be exempt. On the other hand, we do have a Masechet Sofrim that says Chanukah is a special Hallel. Why? V'tzarich likroto b'ni'imah. That the Hallel of Chanukah, and only the Hallel of Chanukah, has to be read pleasantly. Seems like the Hallel of Chanukah is taken out of that list and sort of put on its own, which maybe implies that because it's a Hallel as a thanks to the miracle, maybe it's different, and the exemption of Pesach Shavuos Sukkos wouldn't apply. La halacha in the codes, Gdolei HaPoskim have dealt with this issue. Rav Shlomo Zalman Auerbach, Rav Elyashiv, and Rav Sternbuch, in one of his two opinions, seems to say it's basically like the Hallel of all the Yom Tovim. Explains Rav Sternbuch that you cannot say that it's the Hallel at the time of the miracle if you say it for 8 days. On the day of the miracle, that day, I can understand, like at the Pesach Seder. It's one night that's very special. We have to see ourselves as if we left Egypt, and therefore, at the time of the miracle, we say Hallel. From that perspective, you can't say, by definition, that a Hallel that you have to say for 8 days is spontaneous. Therefore, it's like Pesach Shavuos Sukkos, and women would be exempt. On the other hand, Rav Rafael Shapiro, who was the Rosh Yeshiva of Volozhin after it reopened, together with Rav Moshe Feinstein, and Rav Sternbuch in his second and final opinion, all say no. The Hallel of Chanukah is different. It's thanking God for the miracle. And because it's thanking God for the miracle, it's different than the Hallel of Pesach Shavuos Sukkos. Tosfot, which I quoted earlier, didn't mention it, but it's the same idea. When it's Hallel as a thanks for a miracle, and not a Hallel as a result of the day, like Pesach Shavuos Sukkos, women are obligated because they were part of the miracle. And just like they're obligated on the night of Pesach because they were part of the miracle, and just like on Chanukah they're obligated because in the Chanukah candles because they were part of the miracle, so too they would be obligated in the Hallel as a result of the miracle. So we find a machlokes on this particular issue. What should we do? I believe that for Ashkenazic women, you should be machmir for two reasons. Number one, there is many opinions that say you're obligated. And number two, even according to the opinions that lump together the Hallel of Chanukah with Pesach, Shavuos, Sukkot, Ashkenazic women can volunteer for mitzvot and make a bracha on it. If they volunteer to shake lulav, they make a bracha. So if they volunteer to say Hallel, they should make a bracha. Ultimately, women should say Hallel on Chanukah, even though they don't have to say it on Pesach, Shavuos, Sukkot. And I believe that it would be part and parcel of the Chanukah experience. The Chanukah experience sums up into two things only. Hallel Hohudah, manifested through only two things: lighting the Chanukah candles and saying Hallel. I don't believe women should be left out of it. So I've encouraged anyone that asked me to say Hallel on the holiday of Chanukah, and I think it completes the beautiful experience of this holiday. Not just the specific mitzvah, namely lighting the Chanukah candles, but also saying thanks to God for the miracles that happened then up until this day.